Hey! Hello.
How are you? You look beautiful.
Oh, so do you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got me moon and stars.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, I've got it's all happening. It's all happening. Sparkle, sparkle bright girl.
Sparkles.
Thank you so much for letting me join you today, Vera. I'm so excited and I'm excited to be reading your chart, which is kind of an interesting chart to read, I must say.
I am very excited. I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's nice nerves because I think
Yeah.
something like in life I get stuck and I think I need a bit of guidance. So I think you are my shining light at the moment. So I think it's going to be really interesting and fans are going to love it.
Thank you. I hope so. And that's what astrology can really help you do. It's great to get to a place of self-awareness through astrology, and through the self-awareness we come to self-acceptance, and that's a really powerful place to be. So I'll go easy on you, I promise. There's not going to be any dire predictions or anything like that, but just maybe some tools and some guidance on what's coming up and understanding the timing of that as well.
Beautiful. I'll open the fan line, guys. At the end, if you're brave enough, you can give us a little call and ask some questions, or at the end, we're probably going to read out some questions as well and answer them for you guys. So thanks for joining as well, you guys. You're so cute. I can see ya. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
All right.
Okay. So, Vera, the moon is in Libra today, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and female connections.
Love.
But it also, yeah, so it's perfect for our little chat today, but it also rules art. And music is an art form. I'm sure you'll agree with that. So it's perfect for us to be talking about your music today. And congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I'm so excited to premiere the video. It's super exciting, and I'm glad you guys could join me for it.
Yes. So do you want to chat a little bit about astrology? I know that you are pretty passionate about mental health awareness,
Yes.
and maybe bringing some things to light that astrology can help with for your fans, particularly your younger fans. So I thought I might have a little look at some mental health hacks for each sign. I'll run through them pretty quickly if you like, but I just thought of one main mental health hack for each sign. So starting with Aries, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it really begins with self. So self-love and self-care are really keys to mental wellness for Aries.
Love self-care.
Yeah, every sign loves self-care, right? But particularly for Aries, and that might look a bit like pampering yourself, but we can also go deeper with that, and it can be more about honoring your needs for Aries. For Taurus, Taurus is the sign of self-worth. So really knowing your self-worth and standing strong and firm in that is going to be very beneficial for Taurians, and prioritizing yourself as well. Put yourself first. With Geminis, Geminis tend to worry. They're overthinkers. They're kind of all in their heads.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini. So talking, because they're also the master communicators of the zodiac. So talking things through, getting stuff off your chest if you're a Gemini, basically talking to anyone that will listen is really therapeutic. Yeah. Cancers are the sign of home and family. So when Cancer is not feeling so good, surround yourself with family, and that will uplift you. And I should have said at the beginning of this, these are astrology mental health hacks that I've come up with. But of course, there are people out there that are dealing with severe depression and anxiety. So I do want to mention that seeking professional help is the first thing you should be doing in that case.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah. What was I up to? Leo. So Leo's an interesting one, because everyone thinks that Leos are this super uber confident sign, but actually there's another type of Leo, and it's the really shy Leo. And they may be feeling like, well, I'm meant to be confident. Astrology doesn't work for me because I'm not, and I'm struggling with my confidence. Yeah. And that's okay. That is a type of Leo, particularly in childhood, and particularly with people that have Leo moons, I find. But it's the sign that rules fun and play and creativity. So if you're a Leo and you're struggling a little bit, what can help is really throwing yourself and immersing yourself into a creative project and tapping into that inner child as well.
Love that.
Yeah. And then Virgos like to be organized. They like to be really efficient, and that helps them feel in control of their world. So if things are feeling a bit chaotic for you and you're a Virgo, get super organized, and that will help you get on top of things.
Yeah.
And then for Librans are the sign that really flourish and thrive when they're in a healthy partnership. So, and you know, a partnership, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a romantic partner. It can be the number one person in your life, which might be a parent, or it might be a teacher, it might be a friend. So when you're struggling with your mental health and you're a Libran, lean on that person.
That's beautiful.
Lean on that person, yeah. Scorpio is actually the sign that rules psychology. So this would be a sign that would really benefit from seeing a good psychologist, you know, if they get to that point. But it's also the sign that rules trust. So you need to be trusting in that person, and that understand that takes time to build sometimes.
Yeah.
And for Saggies, if you don't feel like talking to people, you know, you're not necessarily in a communicative mood and you don't feel like reaching out, Saggies do really well when they're educating themselves. They might want to jump online and find some amazing articles and that has some coping mechanisms or coping strategies that they can use. So Saggies are all about education, and particularly educating themselves. Amazing. And then there are Capricorns who thrive when they're working. So if you're a Capricorn struggling, immersing yourself in your passion, purpose into your career is really beneficial, but don't overwork and become a workaholic, because Capricorns can tend to do that a bit. Aquarians, yay, that's you. Yes. And so if you are struggling and you're an Aquarian, surrounding yourself with friends, it's the sign of friendship. So those friendship groups and having really healthy connections within your friendship group with your besties is super important.
That, because I spent the weekend with a few of my best friends and I feel revived. Like I always forget that, like, especially during COVID, it was really hard. I felt like I came to the point where I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I've always been really bad at phone calls. And then as soon as it opened up, I felt myself come back alive. And I think it was basically just because I was with my people, my best friends, and they make me laugh. I think it's like also laughter as well. Like I spend so much time laughing with them. I'm going to
Laughter is the best medicine, isn't it? It actually releases certain hormones in your body that's meant to be really healthy for you. So laugh away.
Love that.
And then there's the last sign would be Pisces. And for Pisces, they're kind of the opposite. So they might feel like, oh, you know, I'm not feeling great and I'm feeling under pressure to connect with people and to go out, and people are giving me a hard time because I'm not up to going out. I feel like I'm putting a fake smile on my face. And if that's you and you're a Pisces, or in fact, if you have strong Pisces in your chart and that resonates with you, then just knowing that it's okay to go within, it's okay to take time in solitude. And that's really healthy to help recharge your batteries and just rejuvenate your energy if you're a Pisces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hope that's some helpful hints.
That would be so. And I can see people in the chat line kind of just saying like, Leo is so accurate, and you know, everyone's kind of connecting to it. And I think all the things that you've just said will be some form of guidance for anyone. And, you know, especially for people, like I've struggled with anxiety and depression for a few years. And I think there's certain things that can help. And if this has been helped a lot of people, even if, you know, just in the smallest way, it's beautiful. And thank you for that, Tash. I love that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks to you for bringing the awareness. I think that moving into 2022, we're going to be seeing a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations around mental health awareness. We've got Saturn and Neptune meeting up in the heavens next year. So I think this will be a major theme. So, and it's so important to talk about because there's a stigma still, I think, around mental health where it's not okay to be okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I've got another tip as well that I'd like to share, and this is for everybody. If you know your rising sign, your ascendant sign, then when the moon is traveling through your 12th house, it's a really good idea to take time in solitude then. That's like the balsamic lunar phase when things go quiet. It's not a great time to push yourself, and it's not a great time to kind of launch new projects either. Now, it's not, you know, do or die like Mercury retrograde, but it's just good to kind of work with the rhythms of the moon. And I know you love the moon, Vera. But when the moon's traveling through your 12th house, go quiet, go within, and to find out, I don't know if people know what their 12th house, what sign rules their 12th house, but to find out, if you know your rising sign, you just count back one sign from that, and that will be the sign of your 12th house. And the moon will be traveling through there for about 2.5 days every month.
I love that.
Yeah.
Before we move on, we have someone calling in. They might have a question about what you just said. I might just quickly.
Okay.
Who is it?
Virgo sun.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Who is this?
Hi. This is Kate.
Hi. How you going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Do you have any questions for us while we're on?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is Tempa a potential lead single for an upcoming album?
Yes, I'm working so hard on a record at the moment. I think it's no secret. It would be terrible if I didn't release one. I feel like haven't released one for so long. So it's definitely time, and it's coming your way.
Oh my God, so excited.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. Awesome. Let's continue.
Yes, this is so nifty, being able to speak to people and see yourself side by side. It's very cool.
Hear someone's voice and hear them ask questions, and it's awesome.
Yeah, technology is amazing, right? Yes. So do you want to talk a little bit more about the upcoming astrology? Do you want to get into your chart?
I think let's just get into it. I think it's very exciting, and I'm keen to delve in.
All right. So I have your chart here. I've got all sorts of notes on it. Let's just start with your sun sign. I think, people relate to their sun signs mostly because we all know our date of birth. But what we don't, this is still general astrology, I suppose, but what people don't often understand is that there's so much more to you than your sun sign. We have a birth chart that's a 360-degree wheel. In fact, I can show you a chart. I'm not going to show you your chart here. So it will help to put a picture a little bit to what I'm saying. This is a birth chart.
Love it.
This is the chart of the week, and this is what I use to write my horoscopes. So we've got a 360-degree wheel, and if you imagine that you are smack bang in the middle of that wheel at your moment of birth, looking up at the heavens, then this is like a snapshot of your moment of birth. So it's so unique to everybody. So while I'm going to talk about your sun sign now, we're going to move on to your Mars sign, your Venus sign, your rising sign, and what that all means. And then there's also the mathematical relationship that everything makes to each other. So it's quite complex. I won't go into the, too much complexity around the mathematics of it because that might get a little bit boring. But let's just start with it.
All of this kind of links to emotions and what the song's about as well. Kind of like, I think it's really interesting what you do. You're incredible, and I think it's so cool how you can kind of read a chart and from birth and all that stuff. So it's really interesting, and I love how much it links to emotions. So yes, I'm excited.
Thank you, so perfect. And there is a bit of a link to the song in your chart, which I was so happy to see.
Yeah.
But basically, so you're an Aquarian, and this means that your sun sign is in Aquarius, and the sun sign represents our basic character. It's how we shine our light into the world as well. So Aquarians are freedom loving. They are the rebels of the zodiac. So they like to do things their own way. They like to dance to the beat of their own drum. They are original people with original concepts and ideas. So, you can really lean on that in your music, which you obviously do. Someone who breaks the mold a little bit and who's not afraid to do that. They are the cool cats of the zodiac. So they cop a bit of a bad rap sometimes, Aquarians, from being a little bit emotionally distant. But I think that it obviously depends on what else you've got in your chart to balance that out. But I really think that Aquarians, rather than being emotionally detached, it's more that they don't get embroiled with the personal details so much as they're looking at the greater good, and they're willing to fight for the greater good. It's a very kind sign, a very intelligent sign, probably the most intelligent sign. It's an air sign, actually, not a water sign, like a lot of people think, being the sign of the water bearer. It is an air sign, so it's very cerebral. But what's interesting about your chart is that you've got this cluster of planets in Aquarius and Capricorn. So right alongside your sun sign in Aquarius is your Mars sign in Capricorn, actually. But because Mars is so closely nestled up to your sun sign, this actually flavors your sun sign. So it means that it influences your personality traits.
Wow.
And this is perfect for the song because Mars rules Aries, and Aries in Greek mythology is the god of war. So Mars is all about assertion, courage. It rules your temper. It's a fearless planet. And so this endows you with all of those qualities. And not only that, but it does so in a really positive way because Mars is in Capricorn and Mars does its best work in Capricorn. So all of those qualities that Mars represents is expressed in a healthy manner. Whereas someone with Mars in Cancer or Taurus, for example, they might really struggle with asserting themselves, and that might be something that they have to work on in their life. Mm-hmm. But for you, it's good to know that that is very available to you. It's the real boss babe kind of placement.
Boss babe.
Yeah. And then we've got Venus on the other side of your sun in Aquarius. So it's interesting. You've got the Mars and the Venus flanking your sun sign, which is actually an uber creative placement, super creative. But Venus in Aquarius for you, that rules your relationships. And I would say that you probably need a fair amount of freedom in your relationships. And that's not just, that's your romantic relationships, but also your relationships with other women. Mm-hmm. Which are very important to you and very close to you, being closely aligned to your sun sign. But with that Venus close to your sun sign, that influences on the other side your sun sign with the Venus qualities, which are all about beauty. So it's no surprise that you're beautiful looking. And so it's beauty, it's love, it's harmony, but it's also screams goddess vibes. And so I loved that, when I saw the Mars and the temper and I saw the Venus, I thought, that's just so perfect because you do, you exude these goddess vibes, and that's from the Venus being closely aligned with your sun sign. And you also have Mercury alongside your Venus. Mercury's in Aquarius. And as I mentioned before, Aquarius is probably the most intelligent sign of the zodiac. So you're a smart cookie.
I didn't pay much attention in school, but maybe I have another smart. My mum always says, when I'd be like, oh, I feel like I'm dumb. She's like, you're not dumb. You have a different kind of intelligence, a creative intelligence.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, we all sort of express ourselves and our talents in different ways. So I'm glad that your mum kind of alerted you to that. But it is because Mercury rules your intelligence. It rules how you communicate. So having Mercury in Aquarius rules the mind. It's kind of a double intelligence whammy. And being closely aligned with Venus, it's beautiful thoughts and it's wanting to communicate in beautiful ways, which I think you might do in your music as well. And then also in this cluster, we're just kind of really fleshing out this cluster that you've got in Aquarius and Capricorn, but you've got Uranus and Neptune as well. So it's all influencing your character, your sun sign. And Uranus is this the planet that rules rhythm in astrology. So it can rule the rhythm of the heart. It can rule the nervous system because that's, you know, very much to do with rhythm. But obviously it can rule musical rhythm as well. So that's a good thing for a musician.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then having Neptune alongside Uranus there, that's a really supernatural cosmic combo. So and it kind of endows you with an otherworldliness. But what does that mean in the real world? That means that you might be attracted to spiritual topics. Uranus also rules astrology, so it's really no surprise that you've invited, and this is probably, I don't know, maybe this is a first of a musician speaking to an astrologer for the launch of their single. I don't know, maybe a world first.
Yeah.
But it's sorry. And feel free, jump in with questions, Vera, because I tend to talk. I'm a Gemini, so, you know, I overtalk and overshare.
It's so good. Like I'm kind of taking it all in, and yeah, if I have something, I'll jump in. But most of the things that I have to say is kind of like going, "Oh yes, that's me."
Yeah. Yes,
that makes sense.
At this point, it can be very validating when you're reading through a birth chart and I'm saying, you know, and these are your qualities here and this is your qualities here and these are your strengths and, you know, these are areas to work on. But after reading your birth chart, and I'll kind of read through the basics and what jumps out at me, but I will then go through some forecasting and we'll have a look at what the planets are doing at the moment to trigger your chart. And then you can get some more predictions.
Awesome.
And some timing. So we're up to that otherworldliness and that supernatural sort of inclination, and being interested in astrology, but you might also be interested in other spiritual topics, and that might, you might kind of look into that a bit more as you get older too. Yeah. And then on the other side of your chart, you have the moon sign in Gemini. And, so the moon is another layer to our human psyche, again, in the birth chart. So, and we will get to your rising sign, which is like the personality. It's like the coat that we wear on the outside, and the sun sign is your basic core character. But then the moon sign goes that deeper layer, and it represents your, you know, your soul. It's how you give and receive nurturing. And it speaks of your feelings and your emotional landscape. And I think that really understanding your moon sign is so important, and embracing your moon sign, because it's sort of like saying, well, I know who I am at my core. And there's, you know, as we mentioned before about the self-awareness and self-acceptance, and that's so powerful. I know that was when I first started studying astrology 20 years ago. That was a really empowering thing for me to learn about my moon sign. It was like an aha moment. Yeah. And, you know, also what it can do is it can help you, you know, really embrace your unique qualities. So if you've got the moon sign in Scorpio, which you don't have, but someone listening may have, if you have a moon in Scorpio, then you're going to be a super deep person. You're going to be someone who wants to talk about deep subjects, and you're going to be an intense person. And maybe you've grown up in a family, you know, that doesn't understand that, and that says, well, that's not okay. And why are you such a drama queen? And why are you so intense? You know, snap out of it. But understanding your moon sign as a Scorpio hopefully will help you embrace that, to say, no, this is me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So you have your moon sign in Gemini, and this adds a bit more of a light quality to your Capricorn. Placements can be quite heavy. Capricorn's quite a serious sign, and that's why it's the sign of, the boss babe, because Capricorn gets stuff done, but Capricorn can also be very hard on themselves. So you're not a Capricorn, but you have a lot of Capricorn placements, and they're flavoring your sun sign.
Yeah.
And then that sun sign, is a little bit more detached and concerned with the greater good and fighting for causes. But the moon in Gemini adds a lightness, a playfulness, a bit of a flirtatious vibe to your character as well. But then again, this is the sign that tends to worry and overthink. So just as you shared that you deal with your own anxiety issues at times, I've got a bit of a theory as to why that is, which we'll discuss when we get to the forecasting. But the moon in Gemini can definitely lend itself to over worrying. And I'd say that's because you just get into your own head and you're a thinker. There's a lot going on up there.
Yeah, and I'm very hard on myself too. Very hard on myself, and then I get carried away with certain thoughts. I've really had to kind of, comfort myself and tell myself that everything's okay a lot. So I'm still forever learning, but it's very interesting.
Yes. And they do say that it's the people, the highly intelligent people, that often do suffer from anxiety and depression because they think about stuff. Ignorance is bliss. That's a saying for a reason. But we can't change who we are. So we can learn to manage things, and we can learn to magnify our strengths and, possibly manage and work on our, the areas that need a little bit of extra work.
Love that. That's such a beautiful thing to say, and so important as well. I think that would be really helpful. And that's actually, like, hearing you say that has been it means a lot to me, because I guess sometimes you feel like feel like you kind of want to, you're like, I need to change these, like, change who I am, but you shouldn't change who you are. You just kind of use your strengths and work on your weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And understanding to be gentle with yourself.
Yeah.
We can't really change who we are according to our astrological DNA, but, there's always the light and the shadow side of every sign and every planet. And when people come to me and they say, oh, I've had an astrology reading before and I've got a bad chart, that really upsets me, because there really is no such thing. There are planets and combinations that are more challenging, without a doubt, but everything has the light and the shadow side. And I always say free will always trumps astrology. So we get our astrological DNA, that's written in our birth chart, but then how we choose to manifest those patterns and placements in our chart is really up to us.
Awesome.
So you can highlight the light expression of planetary placement, or you can sink into the shadow expression. I've got a really good example of that, actually, if we can just detour for a second. It might be interesting. The moon phase, the moon phases, according to the moon phase at your time of birth, that can influence your personality as well. So you actually, and I wasn't going to mention this, but now that we're talking about it, you were born during the first quarter waxing phase of the moon.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that gives you like another layer to your personality as well. First quarter types are self-made people. There are people that are quite dynamic. And I think, you've got a lot of inner power. And I think you're in the process at the moment of really expressing that. But your moon phase personality type can really help you do that. So it gives you that innovation and that motivation that you need to push yourself and to make things happen for yourself. You're not someone that relies on other people to do things for you.
I feel like there is a bit of a shift happening in terms of that kind of stuff. So it's nice to know. Yeah.
Yes, you've got a lot happening actually at the moment, but we'll get to that. Okay, I've lost my train of thought. We were talking about your moon sign, yes, and just to get out of your own head and to embrace all of your astrological placements, really, because they all contribute to who you are. So now getting to your Cancer rising sign. And as I mentioned before, the rising sign, or the ascendant sign as it's otherwise known, that's like the coat that we wear. So it's how other people see you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a part of who you are, and it's still a part of your personality. So what's interesting about your Cancer rising is that it's the only water placement that you have in your whole chart. And when that happens, when we lack an element, like, I'm low in earth, other people might be low in fire, you're low in water because you've just got that one placement. So what we can tend to do on a subconscious level is we can attract people and experiences into our life that align with that element. So the water element is highly emotional. So you might find yourself really attracted to emotional subjects. And, we're talking about tempa, of course. I've just realized, expressing this song for you and expressing the emotions and the highs and the lows would be very cathartic process for you to go through.
Yeah.
Also, having a Cancer rising sign means that you're a highly sensitive person, and someone with a great deal of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also how other people view you as well. Yeah. So there's that sensitivity there, and that's important to be mindful of and to protect. But, Cancer is the crab. And crabs tend to have a hard shell. They're super soft on the inside, but they put that hard shell up, or they have that hard shell to protect their hearts.
Definitely.
So I think for you also, I don't think you're someone that gives yourself away too easily or too quickly. You need to, someone needs to earn your trust, and there's a lengthy process before you allow yourself to get really close to people, or let them get really close to you.
Yeah.
So those walls.
Yeah.
And that's probably, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Yeah. Okay. I've got so many notes here. I was just lost in conversation there. I'd like to maybe move on to some predictions for you. Not so much predictions, but just explaining what's happening to you and how your chart's being triggered at the moment.
Cool.
So the first being Saturn is coming up to your natal Saturn. And what that means is you're about to have your first Saturn return. And have you heard of Saturn Returns?
I haven't. Well, I mean, I have heard of it, but I don't quite understand it just yet.
Yeah. There was a song written about Saturn Returns. I don't know who wrote it. Yeah, but it's kind of a big deal in astrology. And this is because Saturn takes about 29 and a half years to make one orbit of the sun. And that means that it takes the same amount of time to make one full cycle of your birth chart, which means at the age of about 29 and a half, it returns to its position that it was at your time of birth.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very meaningful. And what this does is it usually coincides. You have your first Saturn return, your second as you get older. But with the first Saturn return, it usually coincides with something, a big milestone, or an event, or it can be a process as well, of major commitment. It's something that kind of inspires you to settle down and put down roots.
I love that.
Yeah. So I see this. So this is coming up for you. Now, it's a little ways off, but it's important because, if something takes 29 and a half years to happen, you're not going to feel that on the day that it actually clicks into place. You're going to feel the build. And I'd suggest that you're probably going to start to feel this build in the next couple of months, because for you, your Saturn return is in February 2023.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah. So I'll be watching with interest what happens for you around then.
Yeah, it's cool. Very interesting. We have a caller coming in. I might just answer it real quick.
Yes.
Question. My dog barking. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi there. How you going?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Very good. Who's this?
It's Jessica Wright. I'm just calling about Vera Blue's YouTube live.
Yeah, it's me. Blue.
You're on.
You're on.
Oh, hi. Oh, am I? Oh.
Sorry, don't mind my dog barking. Texas, quiet, please.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, guys.
Hi. How you going?
Hi.
Question?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, I do have a question.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, I'm a Leo sun, a Gemini moon, and a Sagittarius rising. And I was just wondering about like music and how that sort of correlates with my music taste.
Oh, okay. Music taste for Gemini Moon. Well, I think, it's interesting because you have you have a bit of a mixture of fire and air there, Jessica. So I'd sort of say that you'd be inclined to like your pop music with that Gemini Moon, something fairly light, a light, catchy beat. But also it would have to be something that would speak to you emotionally, because as I mentioned before, the moon sign represents our emotions, and Gemini is communication. So for you, maybe music has to speak to you, and Sagittarius is the sign that rules truth. So Sagittarians and your Sagittarian rising, I think you said. So your Sagittarian rising needs honesty and it needs truth. So music that really speaks to your truth would resonate well with you.
Love that. How's that, Jeff?
Perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Astro Tash. And Vera, congratulations on all your new music. It's amazing and I love it so much.
Thank you, beautiful. And thanks for joining in. Love the question.
Of course. Thank
Bye.
you. Have a nice night, guys.
You too. Bye.
Okay.
Oh, that was so nice.
Very good. All right.
Had any more how far have you got to go? There's probably, you could probably talk to me for 3 hours, I reckon.
I could, and we might chat after this a little bit at some stage as well. Look, there's not too much to go. I can sort of wrap it up if you like, but I would just like to mention that you've got a double Mars-Pluto happening. So you've got Pluto to the Mars and Mars to the Pluto. And when we get a double up like that, when we get repetitive patterns in the chart or in the astrology, that's when an astrologer really has to take notice. So Pluto Mars is intense, and this is about superhuman effort. And so this is triggering you right now. And I just want to say to you that it's okay to be working really hard. It's okay to be pushing yourself, because when that energy is around you, it's best to not ignore it or to try and put your head in the sand and walk away from it. It's better to just throw yourself into that and express it in a positive way. So just know that superhuman effort, like sometimes, and it's just hard work. There's a bit of hard work around you right now. But the hard work, the harder you work, the greater the success that you will obtain.
I love that. I'm going to take that right on board.
Yeah. So throw yourself in and really dig deep. And that kind of, I have to mention a couple of other things. Pluto is triggering your chart right now. And this has been for a few years. So when you said before about your anxiety, I feel like Pluto might be involved here. So just to get some perspective on how big this is for you, Pluto takes 248 years to orbit the sun.
Mhm.
And therefore 248 years to make one cycle around your chart. So not everyone is going to have Pluto triggering their sun sign, or any planet, in fact, because it's only going to move through a certain portion of your chart in your whole lifetime. And you have Pluto triggering, like it's right on your Mars, it's heading up to your sun sign. So, and Pluto moves really slowly, super slowly. So that means that it takes a lot, like years, for that process and that message that Pluto is bringing to you to build. And Pluto represents the underworld. So this is where we dig really deep. And if I can just use one sort of metaphor to describe the Pluto transformation that you've been going through and you will continue to go through, this is like a butterfly or a caterpillar, I guess, going into its cocoon and emerging as a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah, wow, I love that.
Yeah, you have been in that process, and you are still in that process. So can't wait to see you really, you're already spreading your butterfly wings, and it's just going to happen more and more for you.
Oh, thank you. I love that so much. It's so nice.
And you have Venus. Actually, Venus is triggering your descendant sign. And what that means is it's activating and triggering your relationship.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of, because Venus is about to go retrograde on December the 19th. So it will be hanging around that point for you for a lot longer than usual. So this is a lot of reflection and reassessment on relationships. And this could be romantic relationships, or it could be your relationships with women and females. At the moment, Venus is not in retrograde and it is there. So this is really positive for a female collaboration. So maybe this is kind of like a female collaboration, what we're doing right now. So it's sort of perfect. Connecting with women in that way, because Venus is the divine feminine as well. And Venus also rules love. So this is really bringing love and beauty and harmony into your relationships.
Awesome. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we might have to finish up there, or we'd go forever.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak to you and read your chart, Vera. It's definitely an interesting chart, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Been so incredible. Thank you so much, Tash. And guys, thank you for putting in your questions. Even if we didn't get to them, please put them on my last Instagram post and I'll answer them for you, or I'll tag Tash in it, or tag Tash and she might be able to answer it for you. Lots of love, guys. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the video.